So, welcome to Talking Ball with Drew and Ethan, and obviously we're in a little bit. Why do I say always talking ball with Drew and Ethan? This is the Holy Huddle. Excuse me. Um,
Ethan's stuck in the past.
it's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been too long. But obviously a lot of things have happened since we have been gone. College football's 26th release date's been announced.
Mm-hmm.
Trailers happen. We're gonna get a live reaction on this and talk about some more news that we have heard this week and in the past weeks. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Take a look.
There's something in the air. From Friday nights to Saturday nights. Chapel Hill to Pasadena. It crackles down our spines. Tradition.
I'm not gonna lie, the music's a nice touch.
Rules that remind our
I like the rock music. It's something I grew up listening to, so I love it.
It's got Ryan Day and James Pinkman.
Yeah. I see that.
Electric. It shocks our nerves and ignites a place where the ground shakes. But our pride doesn't. Where our coach, scheme, playbook, and character are unlike any other. There's something in the air.
They're throwing slugs at Malik Murphy or something.
Them down.
Dude, this is one of my favorite parts.
Watch this. It's funny.
On pride.
They're saying he's a bad quarterback. The tire? How did Akron get in the trailer? Alright, so that is the trailer. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I really liked it. I like the light shows at the beginning of the intro with Alabama. I think it was North Carolina, and I think Auburn too. And then the tire with Akron, that celebration. Why is it a tire?
I don't know, dude. It's kind of I guess that's just a tradition they've been doing for a while now. But I think one of the people working on this trailer or putting this trailer together was an Akron alumni.
So he must have had some influence on that.
Yeah, but it's nice. It's either it was Akron. But it's nice to see those small schools get some love that they never get.
Yeah.
And I have the patch notes right here beside me. Let's just see if there's any news that really sticks out to me. I mean, same broadcast crews coming back. I'm sure you didn't have an issue with that.
I have a question though on that. Are there? Because I've heard people have been asking for like different like broadcast groups in the game. Is it just one? Is it just one broadcast group?
It is Kerr Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, Desmond Howard, and Reese Davis.
Yeah, same as last year.
Yep, it's almost the exact same.
I think the score bug. I think the score bug is different.
The score bug is definitely different, for sure. And let's just continue to move on. Something that was complained about in this last college football game is that there was no high school road to glory.
Yeah.
And now there is, but it's not going to be a full season of high school. You're not going to play a full senior season. It's going to be specific moments and like specific situations you're going to be put into to boost your star rating.
So it's not gonna. So you're not going to play a full season and then.
No, you're not going to go like celebrate with the cheerleaders or go do a little school pride dance on the sidelines. It's not going to be. You're not going to be doing the band thing like Peyton Manning did at Tennessee. You ain't going to be doing all that like you would in high school. No high school song, but It appears to be some pretty decent customization options for high school teams.
So do you like that? Do you like that, or do you wish that we could play a full high school season?
I want there to be a full high school season eventually. You got to think you can't expect them to make a jump this big.
Yeah,
It has to be
yeah,
small. It
yeah.
has to be small steps,
I
little
mean,
by
this is
little.
yeah. I mean, this is the second. This is only year 2 of the renewed college football games. So you gotta. They're still trying to get stuff back into play. I know that mascot mode's not in there.
Yeah, unfortunately not. I'm kind of frustrated about that. But another thing I saw is some FCS teams made the cut.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see what FCS teams they put in.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I love that they showed some love to Akron. And then graphics look really good. I mean, they look essentially the same as last year, which is not bad. They look really good. I think they showed the Rose Bowl trophy. That looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
I love again, the light shows, the lights that showed the teams' logo in the sky. Really like that. Coaches really like that. It's kind of funny. Before we came on air, we were talking about how they kind of screwed up James Franklin a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
They were saying
Grandpa Moses.
Yeah. And then I think Steve Sarkisian was on there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to throw any shade, but that did not look like Steve Sarkisian.
I did not see him in the trailer, so I guess Texas isn't relevant in my head. Oh, but congratulations to y'all. Y'all actually won something. Y'all won a softball championship. Woohoo!
You don't think that's a big deal?
I mean, it's softball.
Softball. Are you a feminist?
No, I love women.
Whoa, okay, buddy.
I can't say that during Pride Month. I might get canceled.
Bro, don't screw us over, bro. That would suck.
Hey, we're a Christian channel where I think we're allowed to say we don't support that. I think we should be allowed to.
Hey, we got freedom of speech, so
Yeah, I don't think a person's gonna find it. So I mean, but just reading through some of these patch notes, you're gonna be able to get custom teams. Now, here's what'd be really cool: if you could make your custom team and upload like the images, like you could in the Team Builder website. It'd be cool if you could have Team Builder for high school and upload your own high school's jerseys and colors and that.
Yeah. Well, I could totally see that. I could totally see that in the future. Probably not next year or maybe the year after that, but definitely in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
But what I also like from the what they showed in the high school what they showed with the high school is the fans looked really engaged.
And that's just everything you're gonna get in a Friday night experience, especially with just in real life. The fans are the greatest thing about Friday Night Lights.
Did they put field rushing in the game? Field storms?
I don't know. That is a good question. That is something I actually do not know.
I wish they did. I wish it's in there, bro. I really want it to be in there.
That's something I do not know, dude. But I think the coolest part's going to be is creating your own coach in Dynasty and playing against these head coaches.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have Van Lanning yelling at me on the other sideline. Isn't that sick?
It might not look like Dan Lanning, but it's Dan Lanning.
I don't think. But something that I found out that was so sad: primetime is not in the game. Bill Belichick is not in the game.
Why?
You tell me. But Baylor's coach is in the game, so I'm excited. I get to see that bald head on the video game screen.
So Deion Sanders and Bill Belichick though was never in the Madden game, so that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, he has his own brand. I think it's strange. Yeah. He was never in Madden. either.
And then yeah, Deion Sanders, Mike Elko's in the game, and both
Yep.
coordinators are in the game.
Yep, all of our coordinators are in the game, I think, I think it's awesome that they're including the coordinators, the guys that really don't get too much love. You know. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. And honestly, it's going to be nice to finally win my school a state championship in a college football game. We can never win one in real life. It'll be nice. Hey, your school's been able to go 4 rounds deep, 3 rounds deep, 2-3 years in a row.
And we haven't lost a regular season game in almost 3 years.
I'm just happy to get to the first round. We've won in the first round several years, but like our best team was so long ago. Like I thought my team was good. Nope. Not at all.
What was that other team's record like? 82.
We won district back-to-back years when I was in high school, but we never made it past second round. We ran into some really good teams. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Ran into a lot of D1 guys, I'll tell you that. And 4A football, which doesn't make any sense, but getting back on track.
And I bet a lot of them went to Texas.
Yeah, and getting back on the track of the video game, when you're in your road to glory, you can decommit from a school.
Oh, that's fun.
And there's this clip I think I saw on the internet of, you remember, I don't know if you saw it, that recruit jumping into the pool with Dan Lannon?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then he decommitted like 10 days later.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was hilarious.
That's so bad, dude. This era of college football is so...
Dude, that's so disrespectful, bro.
How you gonna jump into the pool? How you gonna jump into the pool with you're a 5-star recruit and you're jumping in the pool with, or you're the head coach of Oregon. Keep in mind. Like, that just ruins so many relationships right there.
Yeah, and where did that guy commit to after that?
I don't know if he's even committed right now. Like, he's just still out there right now. So
no, I saw it.
And this hat ceremony is gonna be so fun. I'm gonna be, I'll be throwing the Texas hat all the way across the room in the ceremony. Hopefully,
Yoink.
If it's not even gonna be in my top 5. To be honest, it won't even be on my hat table.
It's not gonna be. Yeah, I was about to say it's not even gonna be on your table.
No.
Or if it is, you're gonna chuck it.
Yoink. But even in this year's Road to Glory, I did not choose Baylor. So, with my first character, so. And the transfer portal is still in.
I wonder how, if they are going to put it in, I wonder how, like, in Road to Glory, how NIL is going to work.
And here's another thing I heard is that the transfer portal in the game is going to be just as unpredictable as in real life. Like, it's going to be wild.
Really?
Yeah. And that's something I like about the game, is that you can get transfers. Like, you couldn't do that in previous NCAAs. Right. And you can just get them so easy. That's just something I like about the game.
Well, I remember when I was playing 25, I think in my dynasty, I think it was DJ Lagway who entered the portal at Florida.
Oh my! I've seen so many rebuilds where he goes to like Texas Tech or like some strange schools. Like, I've seen him at Texas before.
Yeah.
I was doing a coaching career. I started out as a offensive coordinator, and I made my way to Alabama offensive coordinator, and I was able to recruit Arch Manning out of the portal.
Really?
Yeah, and get him to come to Alabama.
Wow.
Which, it's kind of funny. But what do you think about Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams being on the cover this year?
Oh, I love it. Oh, I totally love it. Did you see, do you know who Birdo is?
Bordeaux, yeah, I know who Bordeaux
Yeah.
is.
I think he on his YouTube channel he actually he interviewed a couple of big time players.
I saw him
And
interview coaches, yeah.
yeah, he got Kirby Smart, he got Dan Lanning, he got Marcus Freeman. Trying to think who else.
I saw Jeremiah Love.
Yeah,
I mean, I love the interview. I love that EA is now giving these people reign to kind of
yeah,
do whatever they want. The kind of these people that brought the game back, like the forerunners of the game, if you will. These people who made it happen
yeah.
again.
Well, dude. Well, and I think when he was interviewing Jeremiah Smith, dude, Jeremiah Smith looked like a monster compared to Bordeaux, however you say
I mean,
his
I
name.
think he's only 5'9" or 5'6". He's not very tall.
No, but I mean Jeremiah Smith was like,
I mean,
whoa.
and I'm six. Like, compare it to like somebody like me who's 6'3". Compare it to someone like that. That would be just. It's just ridiculous. These
Yeah,
kids are, and he's barely younger than you and I. He's barely older than us, maybe.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah. Well,
Ryan Williams is definitely
he's young.
younger than us. But
Yeah,
I don't think he's too much bigger than us. He's just fast.
yeah,
He's
really
just
fast.
really good. He's really good. He's a technician. He's a really good technician for his age. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'll finally have a game where Baylor's good. And I don't have to play suit. I don't have to play out of my mind to win a game with Baylor. But
I might. I don't. I'm not sure how they're gonna because I felt like in the 25 game they didn't necessarily disrespect A&M, but I felt like they kind of our offensive line in the 25 game is absolute trash. It's
I
so
think
bad.
hopefully they fix the offensive line. That's a huge issue that I had a
Oh
issue
my
with.
god, that I mean,
I'd be playing in my quarterback road to glory. I'd get sacked like 10 times a game sometimes. 10, 20, like maybe 12, 14 times a game. And the
like,
O-line was like, and it's so strange because the O-line was like 85, 90 overall across the board. It's just strange. Hopefully they fix that. I really hope
well,
they fix that.
well, also doesn't make sense is that like I might be playing an online game with somebody or whatever, and like one game my offensive line or my entire team is like doing really well, and then I play with them again a second game, and it's like what like they can't
They get
even do.
sacked. They get sacked a bunch.
Yeah, it's like what the like is this like a how does that work?
I don't know. Maybe it's just with how the rating systems work and how their ratings are done. I think sometimes it's just at random. Like sometimes you're just gonna get your offensive line run blocking really well, and sometimes they're just. I mean, sometimes the D line you're facing is just better.
Yeah, yeah, bro.
So
What's so funny is that whenever I'm playing online sometimes and I can hear the not the person talk but like the person's music, I'm like, dude, can you turn that down? Like I don't want to hear that.
I mean, that's just a mic issue. That's nothing EA can do.
Oh, I'm not saying EA, but like I'm saying like the online people. I'm like, bro, I don't need to be listening to whatever music you're jamming out to. You know, you can just turn your mic
I
off.
can hear some people watching TikTok, like man, and they're smoking me, like they're watching TikTok during timeouts, and like, dang, I'm just really bad at the game, aren't I?
Well, hey, you know, there's people out there who you know make a living playing that game. You know.
Okay, and then we got a little bit of news I saw here. These are going to be some of the player archetypes in
Ooh, okay.
Dynasty. So for quarterback, backfield creator, pure runner, dual threat, and a pocket passer. Running back, elusive bruiser, north and south blocker, north/south blocker, east-west playmaker, backfield threat, north-south receiver. And then for wide receiver, it's going to be elusive route runner, gritty possession, contested specialist, gadget, route artist. For tight end, it's going to be vertical, gritty possession, physical route runner, possession, pure blocker, O-line, raw strength, well-rounded, pass protector, agile. For edge, it's going to be speed rusher, edge setter, power rusher, and this has got to be my favorite name, physical freak.
Physical freak.
Yep, I'm totally a physical freak in many facets, but we'll talk about that at a different time. Gap specialist for defensive tackle. It is gap specialist, physical freak, power rusher, speed rusher.
Wait.
For linebacker, it's going to be lurker, thumper.
Thumper.
That's the name of a.
Thumper. What the heck?
That's the name of the. That's the name of the archetype of linebacker. Signal caller.
Wait, Ethan. Thumper is the name of that rabbit from Bambi. You remember that? He had that little foot dance thing.
We're gonna get
happy. They call me.
We're gonna get Bambi in the college football game before GTA 6.
They call me Thumper.
And for cornerbacks, it's gonna be bump and run, field, zone, boundary. Then for safety, it's gonna be coverage specialist, box specialist, and hybrid. And something that just like sticks out to me, like if I'm able to get this on like, just think about this. Like if we're thinking, what do you think the positions are going to be in Road to Glory this year? Very similar, you'd think? Maybe a position or two more?
Yeah, I think a position or two more. I mean, last year, they didn't even have high school in 25. They just had like, you pick, I think it was like quarterback, running back, linebacker. Yeah.
Corner.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
It was limited.
But the pure runner like archetype just sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
Like
you're a quarterback, just run around in the backfield and just do whatever you want with the ball.
I love backfield creator. That sounds really cool. Elusive bruiser. That sounds fun. Like, I don't know an elusive bruiser. Like, I don't. That's just awesome.
I still can't get over Thumper.
Thumper. And physical freak.
They call me Thumper.
Dude, I can't even remember the last time I've seen Bambi. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. The Bambi I see is my redneck friends just shooting down deer on their Instagram.
Oh.
They're not shooting the does, I promise. Except Bambi's dad might have died a couple of times with my redneck friends out in the woods.
And you never stop them.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to stop a man with a shotgun?
You're supposed to tell him, hey, get off this property, son. It ain't deer shooting season yet.
Hey, if they have a hunting leash, I will not stop them. I'm not going to stop them.
That is called murder, my friend. No, I'm joking.
If they eat the deer,
dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, we're getting off topic, but I wish I could hunt, but I don't have the heart to. I can't. Like, I can't do it. I don't have the heart.
It's hard for me to see animals die too. Like,
it's just like, something that like it looks fun and that like you hear people do and people who do it, but you just like you wish you could do it. You don't have the heart to. I can't. I don't have the heart to do that.
I can't either. Like,
and plus you gotta go like camping to do that too.
It's not like the video games at the Dave and Buster's where you're shooting at the deer with a plastic shotgun.
Swipe of a card.
Man, I thought I was the I thought I was the guy from Duck Dynasty shooting down all those deer, shooting down all those duck and shooting everything. I mean, I thought I was the marksman of the century.
You had that bandana across your forehead.
I had that raccoon skin on my head. I thought I was Davy Crockett.
Oh gosh.
Man, I thought I was Davy Crockett, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Shoot.
Man.
Moving away from this whole video game deal, a new rule passed this past couple of days. A Supreme Court ruling, I think it was House versus NCAA, where schools can now directly pay their players. What implications do you think that has for college football?
Well, if this was back in 1985, not Houston, SMU wouldn't be screwed over. But,
Yeah.
Because, Houston their program got shut down for like 4 or 5 years because they were paying players. And then they were
That's when they got, Eric Dickerson? No, Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
Earl Campbell. Eric Dickerson.
It
was Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Campbell went to Texas, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I have a big issue with all this is that that it's just, I don't know. I just feel like the stuff that's being put out there and all the, it's not bad that players are getting paid. It's just,
and it's revenue sharing too. So
yeah, it's just, and I get the NCAA is trying to do the best they can to try and, the whole money thing and paying players. It's just college football is changing, but I don't think it's changing in the right way.
I think it's going in the wrong direction. It's not, it's become a money game. It's become people's pockets want to be fatter for their own greedy gain. And college football is slowly becoming something I just can't watch. I'll still watch it because it is one of the most entertaining things on the planet to watch. And college football is always going to be college football, no matter how bad the transfer portal is, no matter how bad NIL gets. College football at the game level is going to be college football still.
Well, and we've talked about this before, but the whole transfer portal thing, because college football was meant for, you're a student athlete, right? And so, and I feel like a lot of people tend to forget that sometimes. Student comes first. Football isn't going to last your entire life. It's going to come to an end. Whether you make it to the NFL or not, it's going to come to an end at some point, right? And so it's not that I feel like people have completely discounted the student part, but I feel like they also have been like, they've kind of pushed that aside because, what it used to be is you go to college and you spend maybe 3 or 4 years developing your craft in college so that you could be prepared to go to the next level, right? That's essentially what college was. And I believe it was back in the day, if you transfer before this whole NIL and transfer portal stuff got out of hand, or before it was a big thing, if you started at one school and then you transferred to another, you would actually have to wait 1 year to play. Which I felt like,
or if you're a grad transfer, you could have transferred instantly.
Yeah. But if you're like an undergraduate and you transferred, you would have to sit out a year, which I feel like was a fair thing to do.
I was okay with transfer players playing instantly until NIL got in the picture.
Yeah, but I also think that when players, and I get it, players have different situations at different times. But if you're just going for the money, it's like, why? What's the point for playing for a team if you just care about the money aspect? It's just, parts of it just doesn't.
And like I said, it's all about greedy people. It's
It's just money, and money has so much control over so many things that it's honestly really sad. Now, am I saying that money is a bad thing? I'm not trying to say money is a bad thing. I'm just saying that when money gets put out there in the wrong way, that's when it can be a bad thing. And I feel like that's kind of where the NCAA is starting to kind of lose supporters just because of, I mean, let's look at the Nico Imaliava situation. I mean, those kinds of stories and headlines, I mean, those are stories and headlines that are like, it just makes you scratch your head and be like, is this really where college football is starting to go? It's sad.
Yeah.
Like,
and he made less money from Tennessee
yeah,
getting out.
yeah,
And just something I want to personally mention
yeah.
is that I'm just gonna sort of elaborate and sort of compact everything you've sort of said. If money becomes bigger than tradition itself, then we have created nothing more than a way for bread. Like nothing more than for the big people at the top is for the kings to feed their peasants with bread.
Right.
Like that's what it's become.
Right.
Like,
Well, yeah.
mhm. And I hate that it's become that way because there's so much tradition. There's so much.
Yeah.
Everything. Rivalries have been ruined. Everything. Like, I don't even think Bedlam is going to be played this year. Like, I can't imagine a year without Bedlam.
Well, and what I'll say is, if money becomes to the point where it's ruining or getting in the way of development of players, which I kind of think is going on, or kind of sort of is going on, that's a problem. That's a huge problem because college football was never meant to be that way. And I'll also say too that we know the main reason why college football games got banned for like what 10 or 11
It's because
years.
players were getting upset they weren't getting compensated for it.
And exactly. And so I feel like, and I'm not trying to say that the new college football games did this or anything, but I'm just saying, I felt like the college football games did have kind of a little bit of influence in that because now players are getting paid. The transfer portal is way out of control, in my opinion. And just all that stuff that, players are just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It all kind of interconnects in a way. And I'm not saying that, it's bad that players are getting paid, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so these guys are getting full ride scholarships to these D1 schools. They're getting their tuition paid, right? In college, you don't need a guy making how much money in college, right? You don't need a guy making as much as an NFL player is making in college. That should never happen.
I'm okay with them making maybe in the like 100,000s, maybe at most. I'm okay
Right.
with that.
But they
But
shouldn't be.
I'm not okay with you making NFL money.
No. And again, like I'm not saying that players shouldn't have never gotten like paid or anything, but when you're talking about players getting near the NFL marks, that's where I have the most problem because in college college should never be about money in the way that all the NIL stuff's happening. You see what I mean? Like money should never get in the way of tradition and development. The development part, I have a problem with because I feel like money is definitely.
And I think it's kind of ridiculous with these smaller schools are developing some really good talent.
Well, yeah,
and they're getting their talent taken away because these schools have more resources, more money, and it's really just become a battle of who has the Price is Right. Like it's literally just become the Price is Right. And I think those smaller schools are starting to fall out of existence with money issues and other stuff. They're just falling. Before we know it, these small schools are going to be gone.
Well, and I would say too that I kind of feel bad for future high school recruits because you talk about the transfer portal. If you have like 2-year guys who have already played college and they're going to graduate maybe in maybe a year or two,
You want the
then
more mature guy.
exactly? And what does that do? What does that do to future recruits? That makes it even harder because then it's like it doesn't give everybody an equal opportunity, and I get that there's never going to be an equal opportunity in anything, but it's just like, man, these recruits are going to be, freshmen, when they already get to campus, they're going to be facing 23 to 24-year-old men, or maybe 26-year-old men now that you got 8-year guys in college football playing now.
Yeah, and I just kind of feel bad for my friend who is going through this process, who's had multiple coaches tell him he would be a D1 kid if it weren't for this transfer portal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just think about this too. I mean, we've discussed it before, but I mean, the teams that, go through spring practice, their rosters are not the same going into fall camp. I mean, they had so much, and that's not a bad thing either. Like putting, adding depth to your program is good. But I remember Steve Sarkisian said one time that, down here in Austin with his program, they don't rely much on the transfer portal. Sure, do they add a couple of guys, here and there? Sure. But they mostly go into the high schools and try and identify young future talent that they can develop 3 or 4 years or maybe 5 years and then send them off into the league or try and get them to be successful. That's what it's about.
Yeah, especially with the guy I played with, or the guy that went to my school, Trey Wisner. He's entering his 3rd year at Texas, which is unheard of in college football today, to be at a school that long.
Well, I mean, look at Arch Manning. I mean, so many people were like, "Why don't you transfer out?" Because Ewers was taking all the spotlight from him. But Manning
Ewers
never
could have honestly stayed in college football. He honestly should have, with the way that the QB draft went this year.
But like my point, like Arch Manning, he didn't transfer. He didn't say like I'm not getting enough playing time. I'm done. No, he stayed. He stayed the course, and now
I love it. I love it. Texas, despite how much I dislike them, they have built a great system of loyalty in their players.
They have, and I do have a lot of respect for Sark because I think he's a really good head coach. I think he's built, and also too for Texas. I know we're talking about Texas, but I also think in the past couple of the last 10 years, they've had coaches that have not necessarily established a healthy culture. Steve Sarkisian, it took him a couple of years, but I mean, he's doing really well, and he's they're loyal in a way. I'm not gonna say they're there's always gonna be players.
There's gonna be people to slip through the cracks, but the people who you want to be loyal are loyal.
Yeah.
I mean, they make their players feel important.
Yeah.
And the thing with Austin is it's a massive market for NIL opportunities. I mean, massive. They probably have the biggest market, one of the biggest markets in all of college football.
Mm-hmm.
The capital of Texas, which millions upon millions of people live there. And you got Lamborghini, you got all these high upscale companies that are willing to pour money into these programs and give these players NIL deals. So it makes Texas like the perfect program for everything to happen.
Yeah, and they're in Texas, and that's a huge deal.
Texas is, I mean, if you just recruited out of Texas, you could probably win a national championship.
Oh yeah, Texas, Florida.
I mean, Georgia. Those schools that are located in these locations, I don't think they realize how much of an advantage they have.
I mean, I know that they've underperformed the last however it's been. I mean, A&M, like this, just an example. A&M, there is no reason why they should not have championships and trophies somewhere in their facility. There is no reason. They are like literally everything is there for them to win everything. Everything. Recruiting is the last of their worries. There is nothing externally keeping A&M from being a powerhouse. It's always been internally. Sure, Missouri, they have everything working against them externally, right? But for A&M, you cannot tell me there's nothing externally keeping them away from being what they want to be. Like literally everything is there. They're in the great state of Texas, like Texas.
College Station is a decent sized market.
Exactly. Like it's like if you've ever seen their facilities, that giant ass stadium they have in College Station, like it's like everything is there. Like you can't tell me that's not a place that should be winning championships on a year in and year out basis. You can't tell me that's not a place that can't win it. Now,
It's just it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and that's the frustrating thing about it,
And I see people maybe like even like I'll just be out like some of these fans, like some of these older generations of fans, when they hear these schools spending obscene amounts of money on these players, they're like, man, I hope they lose. I hope they're not successful. But like it's just the state of college football nowadays. It's
Or like when people go on Twitter or Instagram or whatever and are like, these players suck. I just want to say this to them. Are you playing college football? I don't think you are, so you can't be talking right now. If you're not, and some players receive death threats. It's like what is wrong with you?
all these unks, bro. All these unks.
It's really sad and disappointing that we've gotten to that point. It's just like, if you have that much to say, you need to find a hobby, because like you shouldn't, like, I don't know why you got so much hate for that one person or for that one team. I get people troll and think that's funny, but sometimes people can just go overboard, and
some of it is okay to a certain extent. There's criticism. Some criticism is allowed. I am fine.
Yeah, but like when you've seen it get over the top sometimes on
when
video.
You go to death threats, I think is when it gets too far.
Oh yeah, like that.
Just don't let it get to death threats.
No,
as long as it stays below that, I'm pretty much fine because it doesn't really get too much worse than death threats. But
yeah.
But with these players building their brands bigger and bigger, they're going to hear more and more of these things because where does their brand run through? It runs through social media.
Well, and that's the discussion, I feel like, because social media has so much impact. In fact, I just want to, it's kind of sad, and I would argue that student athletes are probably the most, especially when you're in college, it's probably the most stressful time of your life and career, especially as a student athlete, especially football. Not discounting any others, but I saw this. This is talking about suicide rates. It's
Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So, and I would like to personally talk about this on the show today.
Yeah.
Do not hesitate to reach out to anybody. It's okay to say something. Yeah. You don't have to be in the dark. I promise.
Well, in 2025 alone, okay, just 6 months into this year, can I tell you the total number of suicide rate or suicide numbers?
Go ahead.
Listen to this. 444,536. And 75 to 80% of these are male. Just think about that. 444,536 just in 6 months of 2025. 75 to 80 of these are male. Just male. Isn't like, oh man, that's.
Dude, it's just, I hate to see it. And I don't know, YouTube might
Yeah.
cut out. They might censor our video a little bit, but that's fine. It needs. I mean, honestly, I don't mind mentioning this because
Well,
mental health is such an important thing to me.
well, but that's it, especially in college football or any college sport. And even high school. Like that's a huge discussion on emphasis, because when you talk about mental health in the game, especially in college, people don't. I don't feel like understand how much of pressure college athletes go through on a daily basis. Like they're trying to they go to school, they're trying to learn, and when they're getting all these comments on social media, it's like eventually you just got to turn that crap off.
It's very overwhelming for athletes nowadays because there's so many ways you can hear your name and hear so many
Yeah,
things, and that's why I think it's important to just decompress. You as an athlete,
yeah,
you have to find out a way. You just have to stay off of social media
you
sometimes
have
and
to.
stay off of TV and just
You
like
have because there are
have
people
to
out there.
relax.
Because there are people out there that will say stupid. Like it's bound to happen, and for me, I don't like. I'm just like, do you just not care about other people? Do you just not? And I get we're going down a rabbit hole or whatever, but it's just
Man,
like,
I'm gonna have to use the bleep button for this one, guys.
man, like those I mean, do you know how? I don't think people understand how much time student athletes, like, they train 365 days a year. They put so much work into their craft, and when you get death threats, when you get all kinds of stupid comments, that's at the point when you're like, man, I can't, I
I
gotta,
just can't do it anymore. I don't want to play. It's not worth
yeah.
it.
Or because mental health is a real thing. If you don't think it's a real thing, you're out of your mind. Like it's a real issue, and it's been I would argue that it's been escalating the past couple of years. Ever since COVID happened, it's really gotten worse and worse each year.
It's because of the self isolation. You know, people lock each other out, and
Yeah.
it just becomes something that they just they don't want to be a part of social interaction. I think social interaction is the biggest part to avoiding this mental
Yeah.
illness. Having a community
Yeah.
is the
Well, and
most
I
important part. Having a village
yeah.
is the most important part to avoiding this. And that's why I think getting close to your teammates as a college athlete, really finding your friends as college athletes is really, really important.
Well, and I remember even something that Jimbo Fisher said regarding to that. He was like, mental health has always, especially in college football, I mean, it's been here. It's come more about. It's come out more. It's always been there. It's just it's come out more. And I could definitely testify to that. You can see it. It's people that I mean the people I mean people that they people put stuff out there is just what they put out there is just it's so like it's like you just like you just don't get it, you know.
And that was our serious segment, guys. That's the very serious part.
That was
So
a very serious segment.
a very serious segment that I did not expect to happen. So
But I mean, when you think about it, I mean, that's a huge part of the. Shut up, Siri. That was Siri.
Still working.
Siri.
Siri's been working. You gotta respect how hard Siri's been working.
Watch this. I love you, Siri. Dang, I got rejected by Siri.
Hey, you and me both, bro.
But you know what? You know who I didn't get rejected by? Stand firm. Stand your ground.
Stand firm, you'll win.
My name is Thumper. What is that laugh? Bro, what the heck? You just...
Dude,
you're just
I am running on. I'm running on a lot of caffeine and fumes right now. I'm very, as the kids would say, I'm very nonchalant with it.
That's your $8 word for the day.
Nonchalant. Yep. $8 word. Where'd you get that? What's that saying? Where'd that saying come from?
Our pastor said that during our Revelation class. He was like, "There you go. You learned an $8 word today."
$8 word is okay. Is there anything else you would like to mention before we sort of just fade into obscurity after this episode's over?
Well, we've been talking about some college football teams, and I know we've talked about Texas, Florida. I know we talked about Texas Tech. I want to talk about one other team though. Now that the summer off season's starting to come about, I want to talk about my Aggies for a second, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll give you a chance to give your team the flowers. I mean, I literally posted a whole Baylor edit on the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is your chance to maybe get me to work on a little bit of an edit right here for you. So beware of what you say. I might put in an edit.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go. So let's talk about Texas A&M. So going into 2025, it's going to be Mike Elko's second season as the head coach of the Aggies. If you were to ask me this time ago last year, where do you think Texas A&M is? I would honestly say I have no idea. Like, I don't know if I have optimism. I don't know if I have doubt. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, when you look at last season, heading into the Texas game, Mike Elko had A&M potentially playing for an SEC championship. A&M had not been in that position since 1998. Just think about that for a second. A&M, with Mike Elko in his first year at Texas A&M, first year head coach, had A&M, if they would have beaten Texas, they would have, given it didn't, they would have played for the SEC championship. They were one game short. And so when you think about that, and you think about where people had them at the beginning of the year, I mean, this was a team that started the year 7-1. They were 5-0 in the SEC, and they were the number one team in the SEC for like 2 or 3 or even 4 weeks. And so you have to take into account for that. Now, last year's team is not the same as this year's team, right? And so you have to take that into account. But when you look at A&M's schedule, a lot of the teams that they'll be playing this year, I mean, their schedule from last year is just basically flipped to this year. Let me pull this up. A&M 2025. Let's see. So let me show you the schedule. So they start off with UTSA at home. Then they play Utah State at Kyle Field. Then they go to Notre Dame. That'll be a big one. That'll be at Notre Dame. And remember, we played Notre Dame the week 1 opening.
That's going to be an interesting game for sure.
Yeah. And then we play Auburn, who we lost in 4 overtimes before Texas. We play them at Kyle Field after Notre Dame. Then we get at Mississippi State at home, Florida at home, Arkansas in Fayetteville, LSU at Tiger Stadium, Missouri in Missouri, South Carolina at home, Stanford at home, and then we finish at Texas. So when I look at that schedule, I mean, you look at last year's schedule, it's just basically flipped because we played Notre Dame last year. That was at home. We played, Auburn, Mississippi State. That game against Arkansas, that was always in Arlington. Now it's home and home because that contract expired in Jerry World. LSU, we played them last year. That was at home. Missouri, that was at home. And then Texas, that was at home. So the schedule basically got flipped. And then the other teams like South Carolina, Florida, Mississippi State, and Auburn, those were all away games. So take away those, maybe a couple of non-conference games that are just, teams that we should beat. The schedule is just basically flipped. And so I think for Mike Elko, honestly, this is the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, A&M goes 6-6, and Elko is on the hot seat. Best case scenario, I'd say 10-2. I think for A&M, and I think this is pretty reasonable. I think for A&M going 9-3 and winning a bowl game like a New Year's Six bowl, going 10-3, I would call that a pretty successful season. Given the fact that A&M hasn't won, they haven't had a double-digit win season since Johnny Manziel. That was 2012, the first year in the SEC. And so
I
I
was
think
still a youngin' back then.
Yeah, I think I was like 6 or 7 then. So I think going 9-3 and then getting to that 10-win mark with a bowl game, I think that would be I would call that a successful year for A&M.
And just me add my little bits and pieces. You're returning a really good running back in Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah.
Well, Marcel Reed is coming back for his sophomore season.
Yeah.
So he's coming back for his second year. That backfield is probably one of the best in the SEC, if not the best.
Yeah. Well, let's go into depth about that. Marcel Reed, and Marcel wasn't very consistent as a passer. He was more of a runner last year, but I know he's been working on his passing game over the offseason, and he's been.
Y'all's offensive coordinator, I believe, is a former quarterback for Kansas State.
Colin Klein.
The legendary Colin Klein.
Yeah, but no, if you're gonna have Le'Veon Moss. I don't know if you know who Ruben Owens is.
I've definitely heard of him. I think he's a little bit from a smaller school.
Yeah,
is what my brother was telling me. There's some player y'all had that's from a smaller school that Jonah Jonah's my older brother. That I was talking to him about. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But no, because, and last year, Ruben didn't really, he played in the Texas game a little bit, but last year, and I think it was training camp, he hurt his ankle, and he was out for most of the year. So he's going to be back. They're going to have Amari Daniels. He'll be back. E.J. Smith, Emmett Smith's son. So you're talking about 4 or 5 backs. That running back room could probably be the most talented or most productive running back group in all the SEC. You got Marcel Reed at receiver. You got Casey Concepcion from NC State. Kevin. Sorry, not Casey. Kevin Concepcion. And last year, A&M's wide receiver room wasn't very. I wouldn't say they weren't productive, but they didn't have a lot of depth. And so
y'all's best receiver left for what, Georgia this year? Noah Thomas.
Yeah, we didn't really. And he wasn't really even the number one guy. Even did he have a lot of catches? Sure, but he wasn't very consistent.
It's KC Concepcion, not Kevin.
Yeah,
it is Casey. You're right.
Yeah. Casey Concepcion.
I thought you meant like Casey. Okay, but yeah, no. You're right. He's a big playmaker, so I think you should be excited about him out of NC State.
Yeah. And then the offensive line.
I don't know why I was thinking it was Kevin. I guess I'm thinking of the baseball player, the really old baseball player. Anyway.
Yeah. But no, I think that wide receiver room could be good. A&M's offensive line last year was so much better than the year prior. 2023, we were absolutely terrible. I think we were one of the top offensive lines in allowing sacks per game. It was bad. But they have 4 or 5 year veteran guys up front, 3-year guys, and then the tight end, they have a lot more depth there. Theo Mellon-Nordstrom should have a big year. Defensively, they lost Scorton, Stewart, and Turner, but A&M, I don't know if you agree with me, but A&M's they've always reloaded at the defensive line.
And y'all's linebacker core is, if I'm being honest, y'all got a really good linebacker core returning. Torian York, Scooby Williams, who's a really good player. Scooby Williams is a name to watch out for this year.
They got Damian Samford. They got a couple of freshman guys. They've got Noah. What's his name? Not Noah. What's his name? Noah McHale, I think. I don't know. I don't know if you've heard of him. But yeah, they got a couple of freshman guys. The secondary should be good. But last year, man, A&M could not play zone coverage to save their lives. They were. I mean, it was Quote from Mike Elko after the USC loss. I guess the main storyline of our season is this: we can't defend the forward pass well enough. So that zone coverage better be fixed because I mean I think A&M was giving up 25 to 30 points a game. I mean it was pretty bad. The run defense wasn't bad, but it wasn't also great. So I'm definitely looking for that defense to step up, but I think that offense under Colin Klein, because Connor, I mean, remember this, going into the season, we thought Connor Wigman was going to be the QB1, going to run the offense most of the year, but instead it was mainly Marcel Reed. And so I feel like that offense is going to kind of evolve around him more. It might look a little different, but I think honestly a 9-3 season and then winning a bowl game, getting to 10, I think that, I mean, you got to start off, you want to win immediately, but you also have to. It takes time, and I know we say that.
I think 9-3 is very realistic for y'all.
Yeah. I think. Well, so some of the games that I see that we could lose. I don't know how good Notre Dame's going to be because they lost Riley Leonard to the NFL. I don't know what their team's really going to look like. I know LSU is going to be a tough one to go on the road and win. I don't know how I feel about Arkansas. I feel like Arkansas could be a trap game just because we've beaten them like 12 out of 13 years in Arlington, so they kind of want some payback. And then Texas. I mean, I'm not going to stand up here as an A&M fan and say that we're going to lose to Texas. I mean, I'm not going to say that. That's all I'll say about that game.
Yep. But, I'm glad you got to give your Aggies some shine today.
But I mean, and honest to goodness, if Marcel Reed, I mean,
he just needs to take that extra leap as a passer. Now, I honestly think, that 9-3 thing is really, really obtainable.
Like, honestly, I don't want to draw comparisons right now, but Marcel Reed, I've kind of been thinking about it. Because of his running ability, he reminds me of a Jalen Milroe type. He's not as big as Milroe.
He's very he's very Johnny Football like. He
right.
can run. He's a very elusive. He's not necessarily the most powerful runner. Not the most.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just very elusive. He's very slippery. He's kind of like Kyler Murray was in college. He's not going to kill you running you over or juking you out. He can just his speed is just something that is really good.
Well, and he also kind of reminds me, like, kind of similar traits to Jaden Daniels a little bit. Kind of slippery. Not the fast. He's not like. I mean, he's really fast, but I mean, he's slippery. He can make people miss. I mean, there was this one clip against Florida at the end of the game where he put somebody right in his place. I think it was at the end of the game. He put a little stick move on him, and he just, I mean, it was nasty, man. It was, and that was in the swamp too. I mean, he beat Florida in the swamp. So, I don't know. I think 9-3 it could be realistic. I'm trying to be as unbiased here as possible.
And maybe one year y'all can finally beat Texas.
Yeah, maybe we can do it this year. They pay us to visit down at College Station. They beat us, and maybe they can host this year, and we can pay the pleasure back to them in their own house. Well, it's actually funny. The last time we went to Texas, we actually beat them.
Yeah, you'd love that, wouldn't you?
And you know what's ironic? The last time we went to Austin, the last time we played Texas in Austin, Ryan Tannehill was our starting quarterback. Von Miller played on our team, and we had a guy named Cyrus.
Stop making me feel old.
I think I was in preschool.
Von Miller?
Yeah, Von Miller
Von
played.
Miller's almost retired in the NFL, dog.
I know. No, I'm serious. And I think, what was that? Was it Dave? No, it wasn't David Ash. It was, I think, Gilbert. It was the starting quarterback for Texas in 2000.
Gilbert.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, Von Miller, it was Von Miller, Ryan Tannehill. They played the last time they played in Austin. That was like I think that was 14 years ago. That's crazy.
Dude, what a time to be an A&M fan, huh?
Yeah.
2011, 2012 was a great year for me as a Baylor fan. RG3 won Heisman. So, great memories for me during that, from like 2012 to 2016-ish. I think we were solid to like 2014. Like 2010 to 2015 are some really good years as a Baylor fan.
I think wasn't 2016 the year y'all started 6-0 and then y'all went 6-6 after that. Y'all started 6-0 and then lost 6 straight.
Can't explain it.
That happens,
Yep, I guess so.
Well, now that I gave my, I guess, quote unquote prediction about my Aggies, I think that's all we got for tonight.
Yeah, I think that's all we got tonight. Without further ado, that was Ethan Mailer of the Holy Huddle signing off.
Thanks for joining the Holy Huddle tonight. We'll see y'all later.